Okay, liebe Zuschauer, heute auf Englisch. Today, I'm sure. Today in English. So, erstmal vielen Dank, Peter Jakob. Thank you very much, Peter Jakob. You bring each month very beautiful people here in Germany, and there are a lot of flowers in the world. But the person who is bringing this flower, I say the first thank. Okay. I like very much Indian music, and I'm very proud that you are here, and a little bit exciting. My first question, before we start officially the transmission, is the Partha, what is music for you?
A very fundamental question. You can say it in one line. You can also spend all your life trying to answer this question. Music is that which colors the mind or the heart or the soul. I wouldn't be able to give you the exact Sanskrit shloka, but it is defined in Sanskrit. This is the definition of music in Sanskrit, that which colors the mind is music.
The mind?
The heart,
Das Herz und den Verstand.
the mind, the soul, the spirit,
Okay.
anything which colors
Yeah.
the mind
Okay.
is music.
Bringt Farbe ins Leben, kann man sagen. Musik.
Is also music possible to heal some person?
It is possible, but research is going on all over the world. I don't know how far this has been proved scientifically, but we have our experiences while teaching music, while performing music, that just as music gives you different moods, mood of joy, mood of love, mood of prayer, devotion, all these moods are generated by music. At the same time, music has got some therapeutic effects, healing effects on the body and on the mind. I have my personal experience. I have students back home in Calcutta, India, where I live, but I happen to spend almost 6 months in a year away from home in concert tourneys in Europe, Germany, Belgium, France, England, Austria, and other countries, and USA, Canada. So I have noticed in some of my students, they come with some chronic problem. Somebody has high pressure. Somebody has got high cholesterol. Somebody has got nerve problem. Somebody has got depression. In many of these cases, while they learn music, they play music, over time, they feel much better, and medically also, the investigations or the tests show that their illness or ailment is under control when they are in music. Other ailments of the body, for example, many people have pains or aches of the body. Just like yoga is that physical aspect of yoga, makes your body fit, also music has that kind of an effect on the body. For example, we are used to sitting cross-legged when we play the sitar. Some people call it yogic position, yogic posture. And the ability to sit like that and play, that also gives your body a lot of flexibility. So it has got effect on the physique as well as on the heart, mind, spirit.
Thank you. One question more. Is music art for religion or is also science?
I would say it is all of these. First of all, as an art, it is obvious. Since time immemorial, music, painting, theatre, everything has been considered as art forms because they have scope for creativity. Art is anything that gives you scope to express something. And like we have language to express our state of mind. But language is actually dealing with our everyday life. But art is something which is above the everyday life. And art is the language of the soul. So in the same way, music is the language of the soul in which you can express the finest of emotions, thoughts, sentiments. This is about music as an art form. As a science, there is a lot of science in music. For example, in instrumental music, I have with me the sitar, which is one of the oldest classical instruments from North India. As you would call it, this is Nordindische klassische Musik. So sitar, as you see, this is what you would call a Saiten instrument mit 7 Hauptsaiten, main strings which are actually played. These are in the upper layer. And we have the 13 sympathetische Saiten, lower layer. And the structure is made of wood. And we have 2 sound boxes at the 2 ends, which are made from a vegetable grown in India, the shell of that vegetable, which is similar to your courbis. Not exactly courbis, but it is similar to courbis. Now, why science? This technique of the sitar playing uses many principles of science, especially physics. For example, the tuning. The 13 sympathetic strings are tuned to each note of the main melody played on the main string. I will play for you the sympathetic strings. You have the octave and more than 1 octave. Now these notes or these strings tuned to the notes of the melody, this is called raga melody. In the Indian word is raga, kafi, not coffee, kafi, is the same as what you had in your European music many years back, Dorian scale. So now if you hear me play on the main string, just the notes of that scale, just 1 octave, you will find that if I play a note, that sympathetic string tuned to that frequency, here is science, resonates sympathetically. I am playing the upper string, but the lower string is vibrating on its own. So this is because of the principle of sympathetic resonance in physics. So I just play for you a few strokes, a few notes on the main string, and I hope you can hear yourself and the listeners and the viewers that sympathetic string giving a tingling kind of sensation if the instrument is tuned properly. Apart from the note, you hear something else. If I keep my finger over the sympathetic string and then play the same thing, no extra vibration. That tingling sound. So this is just one example how we make use of the principle of sympathetic resonance of physics in the tuning of this instrument. Another very simple example, I don't want to make it very scientific, but just to make it interesting. When we play what you would call staccato in European music, is this flat notes. In Indian music, apart from the staccato, we use a lot of what we call string pulling, which is also called in English glissandos. Now what do they sound like? I want to play two staccato notes, do, re. Now from do, I will pull the string so that the sound moves or glides from do to re. This is possible by string pulling. There is the principle of physics. If I put my finger here, this is the effective length. That length gives it a unique tension and frequency that is corresponding to the note, do. If I pull the string, the tension of the string changes to higher tension, then I get the higher note. If I pull more, higher. So we are making use of the change of the tension to move to higher pitches. So there is science behind every art form, at least in instrumental music, there is science. It might be invisible, but it is there.
Yes. I ask this question because appreciation of arts. No? For me, it's arts, it's come from the land, intuition, where is the foundation of economy and science. In the modern world, is arts not so important. So, because I say, please appreciate arts before you are doing one research, before you are doing business. First, mathematics, physics, with music, with dancing, with singing, and after business, research, and so on. This is for me very important. Can art become the place who the right place in the world? First art, then after president, after König,
the kings and
king,
princes.
and
And,
so
yeah.
on. This is my approach.
Yes, I also agree with you. I would go even further. Of any society, of any civilization, art is oxygen, without which you will not live. And you had asked me another question. Music as art, music as science, and music as religion. Now to answer the last question, well, yes and no. To come to my subject, das ist nordindische klassische Musik. This music is viele alt, very, very old system of music, which began 4,000 years ago with the Vedas. The Vedas were the ancient scriptures which were the basis of the Indian civilization. And there were 4 Vedas dealing with different aspects of life. Now, the first reference to music was in Samaveda. And it was said that music originated, the first music was in the form of chanting. And that time, forces of nature like rain, sun, wind, these were worshipped as gods. And people worshipped in the open, in nature. And they chanted hymns or shlokas or stotras set to certain frequencies. addressed to the gods. Later, these sounds or these frequencies were found to correspond to the octave, which in the European language you call octave, in Indian language we call it saptak. And there were 7 notes. There are 7 notes in the octave. This is common to both Western and Eastern music. Only the names are different. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. The names are different. The sound, frequency, everything is same. So, Indian music originated as a form of worship. So, naturally, religion was closely knit with music. But over hundreds and thousands of years, this music evolved. It was associated with religion. At the same time, it also detached itself quite a bit. Because music flourished in the royal courts. The Koenig, the king, patronized music. In his court, he wanted to have musicians, he wanted to have painters, he wanted to have poets to entertain him and the other privileged people. So, from the religion, music moved to the courts of the kings and princes. Later, music also existed in the form of worship in the temples of India. Even later, we find in the modern age, we admit that this music has some association with religion, but I would like to believe that music is even more than religion. If you talk of music and religion, you make music narrow. Then does music mean Hinduism? Does music mean Christianity? Does music mean Buddhism? Does music mean Islam? No. Music is above all religion. Music is spirituality. Wherever there is soul, there is music. And music basically gives you the message of love, peace, tranquility, which is common to all religions. So I would answer your questions, sum up in this way. Music originated with religion, associated with religion, but at present, I think everyone should agree that music is even above any particular religion. Music is about universality of the spirit. Music is spirituality. And all religions talk of spirituality. So it should not be limited to any particular religion. For example, music is a great unifying factor. It unites people, not divides. We have bhajans. Now, bhajans are the prayer songs of the Hindus. But we find in India or all over the world, people from different religion, they are singing bhajans. So it's not that only Hindus will sing bhajans. So you can be of different religion, yet you can practice music, enjoy music, or give enjoyment to people, or you can give people peace, tranquility, whatever they seek like through this music. Although it might be in some way or the other associated with some kind of religion.
It's the universal language.
It is. A very popular definition of music was given by a very great maestro of North Indian vocal music. He was a great singer. He happened to be a Muslim by religion, but his music makes us think that he was actually spiritual, more spiritual. Ustad Amir Khan, he said in Indian language, Urdu, असली नगमा वो है जो रूह सुनाए और रूह सुने. That is the real music, which is the language in which the soul talks to the soul. So where is actually religion in this?
It's beautiful, perfect. I am happy can I have this question to you. Also ist die Nature, Musik, Arts ist the nature, is the life, and is the begin of religion, the begin of science, the begin of economy. Why isn't the world arts have so deep place?
By deep, do you mean not so important?
Not good pay. Many times they say, okay, we have some conference, okay, arts in between. And when I organize conference, I say only the speaking in between. Also arts and in between for boring speaking, and again arts for feeling great. Why isn't the world the best, this vibration, this feeling of nature, this feeling of arts, of science, this land where all the idea come, where the genius is coming, where happiness is coming, when balancing is coming, from where health is coming. Why don't have the right place?
Well, this is also a very deep question. What I believe, my perception is that human beings, most of us, we cannot see beyond a certain distance. For example, we believe food is very important because without food, we won't live. Money is important. Without money, I won't be able to get food. A house is important, a roof over our heads. Without this, also we won't be able to live, the cold or the rain or whatever. So these things that we consider most important because we find that these have immediate functions or immediate benefits. What we don't realize, most people, is the silent things which contribute to good quality of life. If we think deeply, then we will know that even if you have money, even if you have a roof over your heads, even if you have food, you could be a very unhappy person. You could be a person who has no meaning in life, who finds no meaning in life. Give me a reason why. In Scandinavian countries, I have been told, there is the highest suicide rate. Yes. They are one of the few of the richest countries in the world, having some of the highest standard of living. So why are they unhappy? Why do they commit suicide? So then we have to ask ourselves, or we have to tell ourselves, that beyond money, beyond food, beyond whatever else we think is an immediate necessity, there must be something which is very important. So that vision is not there in most people in this world. If they are educated in the true sense of the term, education does not only mean having a degree. If education will open your eyes, education will give you a vision to look beyond. So only if people are educated, they have that training, they have that sense, they have that kind of a company, then they will realize more and more the value of arts. This is number one, the reason why they don't consider art to be very important. The second reason is also related to this. I remember a lady, a doctor in India. She said something very remarkable to me, saying that your market value in society is directly proportional to the amount of harm that you can do to society. Do you understand me? Harm, damage. The amount of damage that you can do. Your capacity to do damage to society. If you have more capacity to do damage, your price is higher. Example, she was a doctor. She gave her example. If my patient does not pay me my fees, I will not treat him. Then he will die. So I have the capacity to do damage. Okay. A teacher in school or college or university or even private coaching, if you do not pay his fees, then he will not teach you. Then you will fail. You won't get marks, then you won't get a job. So his capacity to damage is there. But artist, painter, if he does not paint, can he do any damage to society? No. Musician, if he does not play, can he do any damage to a person? No. So people in society pay not because of the value of what they are getting, because they are afraid. If they don't pay, then they will be damaged. But artists, creative people, their art or creativity has only the power to do good. They do not have the power to do damage. That is why art is considered so low, or market price of art is so low.
Okay, last. No? But my experience is no arts, no Toyota. No arts, no house. So I'm speaking about so the energy of the world. No art, no science. So it's the beginning. No? So not of the first need from the people, but of the science of this world, no? Where the people who are upstairs, they take decision. How
the policy decisions, you mean?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
The leaders, world leaders.
The leaders, yes.
Yes.
Because the leader decide.
Which is more important.
Yeah.
And
for example, in Germany, if you give concert, you have to pay a lot of money, a lot of tax normally. No? It is not possible to something. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much for this first question. No?
my pleasure.
And I will do a technical cut. We can start in the next question.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Kurzes Starten.
Yogi tea.
Yogi tea. It's herb tea.
That is what I call yogi tea.
Yeah, you don't appreciate it. Like Italian coffee.
For me, yogi tea is no tea. Either Schwarztee or European coffee. German, Italian, macchiato, cafe au lait, cappuccino.
Okay.
That is good.
খুব ভালো বললেন।
হাসবে শুনলাম, লেকচার দিচ্ছি
না, এমন এমন প্রশ্ন হতে পারে ফার্স্টে এটাই ভাবিনি।
প্রশ্নটা একটু ডিপ।
But there are plenty of people who appreciate art,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
especially music. Of course, not everybody.